Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be discussing the new AP poll that just came out. This is our reaction to the Week 4 AP poll for the 2024 college football season. Week 3 is in the books. We had a lot of great games. We have a couple of changes with the new AP poll, especially at the number 1 spot. There's a new number 1 team in the 2024 college football season. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I will make sure to respond every week. We go over every single game for college football and the NFL. We do predictions, money lines, spreads, and the over-unders. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that you can follow along with us. But let's go ahead and get started reacting to this new AP poll that just came out. So there you have it. When you look at the very top, the new number 1 team moving up 1 spot. We have the 3-0 Texas Longhorns. They received 35 first-place votes. They're coming off of that complete beatdown of UTSA where they won 56-7. Quinn Ewers goes down. Manning steps right in. The offense does not miss a beat at all. This is a very deep team under Steve Sarkisian, a very well-coached team. They have a top 5 roster. They have a top 10 defense, top 10 offense. They lost pieces at the running back position. They lost Worthy. They lost Mitchell. They lost a lot of guys on their defensive line. But Sarkisian has recruited this team. They're stacked. They're ready to go. They have Georgia coming up soon. They are new to the SEC. They're at the number 1 spot. So now they have the target on their back. They have UL Monroe coming up this week. So obviously they're going to win that one. But a new number 1 team, and it's the Longhorns, a team that hasn't been number 1 in quite some time. So that's pretty fun. Moving down 1 spot, they're at number 2, the 3-0 Georgia Bulldogs. So the SEC does have the top 2 teams for back-to-back weeks. They're coming off of that really close win to Kentucky when they won 13-12. They have the bye week this week. They fell 1 spot, but they still got 23 first-place votes for Georgia. Georgia was a massive Vegas spread favorite versus Kentucky. That was not a good game in any way whatsoever. The defense played solid. They got turnovers when they had to, but the offense played awful on Saturday. Not a good showing. I expected them to fall 1 spot due to Texas showing out. Texas having a better win this season. They beat Michigan in Michigan. That's a top 25 win. Georgia does have that win versus Clemson, but they didn't do it on the road, and obviously Michigan's higher ranked than Clemson technically, and they are the defending national champions. And then Texas has played every single game at the same level of football. They haven't taken a step back at all. Georgia laid an egg, but if you were Georgia, I'm perfectly fine not being number 1. Now the target's not on your back. It shows your team that they need to have some resiliency, get back to top peak form. Kirby Smart is going to use this as ammunition going forward. Every team has a bad game every single season at some point. Georgia had theirs. They won it. Yes, there raised some question marks about their offense, but perhaps that was just a hiccup. You won it. Never apologize for a win. Just keep going forward. You do have Texas later on this season on the regular season schedule. So it's not like you don't have the chance to get the number 1 spot spot if you needed it that badly. Coming in at number 3, we had a team that had a bye week. We have the Ohio State Buckeyes. They are 2-0. Their last game they played, they beat Western Michigan 56-0. They did get 5 first-place votes. Obviously, the Buckeyes are a very talented team. They have the number 1 defense in all of college football. They had 8 starters back from their number 3 defense last season. Very well-talented team. You have Will Howard at quarterback. You have Ryan Day at head coach. You have Chip Kelly calling the offensive plays. You have Henderson. You have Quinton Junkins. You have Egbuka. You have Jeremiah Smith. There's weapons up and down this field. They have Marshall coming up. They are going to blow them out. Perfectly fine with them not moving up or down when they had the bye week. Coming in at number 4, we have the Alabama Crimson Tide. They are 3-0. They beat Wisconsin Badgers in Madison, Wisconsin. They won that 142-10. Solid game. Although the Badgers, Tyler Van Dyke did go down with an injury first quarter, so they had to go to their backup pretty much the whole game. But Alabama still showed out when they had to show out. Very solid win on the road. That was an SEC versus Big Ten matchup. I did think some people were blowing it a little out of proportion because that was in no way the best team in the Big Ten. They're probably like the 8th or 9th best team in the Big Ten, and Alabama, as of right now, is the number 3 team in the SEC. And people were kind of bragging that they won that one, and it's you should win that one, but they won it in every way that they needed to. Defense played great. They had turnovers. Jalen Milroe continues to make his Heisman statement going forward. Kalen DeBoer continues to show that he has this under control. I have no issue with them not moving up or down. They are the number 4 team as of right now. Coming in at number 5, not moving up or down, the Ole Miss Rebels, 3-0. They beat Wake Forest 40-6. Very solid game. We've discussed Ole Miss in detail. Lane Kiffin, they put all of their chips in this season. They threw everything in the portal. They brought in the number 1 transfer portal class. They have Jackson Dart. They have a very talented offense. They have a very talented defense, but they're only going to soon start getting into the actual meat of their schedule. They have Georgia Southern this weekend. They should beat them handily, although they do have a good offense, but they just need to get to 10-2. They just need to be in that final 12, and you have a shot at the playoffs, and then anything can happen. Very talented team, and they are scoring a lot of points. Coming in at number 6, we have the SEC has 5 of the top 6 spots. That is crazy. We have the Tennessee Volunteers, 3-0. They moved up 1 spot. I'm honestly a little surprised they didn't move them up 2 spots just because this team is scoring a lot of points, and they're playing really solid defense. They are coming off of a 71-0 beatdown of Kent State. They dropped a 70-burger, 70 points on Kent State, who's not a good team by any means, but to drop 71 and shut someone out, they're going to start getting first place votes soon. Tennessee, very talented. You have Josh Heupel, one of the best play callers in all of college football. You have Nico at quarterback. You have Squirrel White. This team is loaded on offense, loaded on defense. They can beat you multiple ways. They can beat you passing the ball. They can beat you running the ball. They can beat you on defense. This is a very talented, well-coached team. Once we get into SEC play, they're going to be really fun to watch. They have Oklahoma coming up this weekend. So they beat NC State. That was their top 25 win when they were ranked. Now they have Oklahoma in Oklahoma. That's a good test for an offense that has been rolling. Now they have to go to Oklahoma, continue that process against a very talented Sooners defense. Perfectly fine, though, with them moving up 1 spot. They have a lot of games ahead of them. Coming in at number 7, we have Missouri at 3-0. They fell 1 spot. They beat Boston College 27-21. I did hear some people brag about that win. That was Boston College's first week ranked. Now they're not ranked. So it's no longer a top 25 win because they're not in the top 25 anymore. That was the ACC's not a team that's going to really compete, I don't believe, in the ACC versus, let's say, Miami. Very talented team. Bill O'Brien, Thomas Castellanos. They can run the ball. They're very disciplined. I think they're a very good team as of right now. But that wasn't an impressive win to me for Missouri to win that game. They were the number 6 team in the country. They have Cook. They have Burden. Very talented team, a top 30 offense, top 30 defense. If they want to be on the national stage, though, to me, they should have won that game a lot more. They've been virtually untested the whole season. They played a couple garbage cupcake teams. They had back-to-back shutouts, though. Massive props that no matter who you play, to shut out back-to-back teams is an accomplishment unto itself. Boston College, good solid win. They were down 2 possessions to start that game out first half. That's not a good look. I didn't think they should have been number 6. So them dropping 1 spot, to me, they should have dropped more because they shouldn't have been 6. To me, they should be around 9 or 10 right now, which is still very high, but they haven't done anything for me to move them into the top 6 or the top 7. Coming in at number 8, we have the Miami Hurricanes at 3-0. They moved up 2 spots. Perfectly fine with that. This is the number 9 overall roster, according to ESPN. Very talented team. Top 10 transfer portal classes, top 10, top 5 recruiting classes. They are loaded with 4 5-star players. Cameron Ward at quarterback, a Heisman hopeful level quarterback. Damian Ward, Mark Fletcher. You have Borregales. You have Arroyo. You have Restrepo, you have Brown, George, Horton. This team is loaded. They have a top 10 defensive line, top 10 in sacks right now, top 10 in tackles for a loss, top 10 offensive line in the least amount of sacks they've given up. They've given up 1 sack, and they were top 10 last season. Very talented team. They have an easy schedule. They're getting through the more difficult portion of their schedule, and they're kind of starting to get to the point where they can start cruising. They have South Florida coming up, which is a sneaky, below-the-radar, really competitive team. They did play Bama really close deep into the fourth quarter. Perfectly fine with them being 8 right now, but I'd put them in front of Missouri for sure as of right now. Coming in at number 9, we have the Oregon Ducks at 3-0. They beat Oregon State, in-state rival Civil War, 49-14. This is a team that started out, number 3 or 4, fell the first 2 weeks, had back-to-back sloppy games. They barely beat Idaho. They barely beat Boise. They finally got some things right. Dylan Gabriel was the Heisman front runner according to Vegas coming into this season. This team is loaded. They have Walker, they have Dylan Gabriel, they have Stewart, they have a top 10 offense, they have a top 10 defense, they have a top 10 roster, they have Dan Lanning as the head coach. A loaded, aggressive team. This team can beat you multiple ways. They actually look like the Ducks team that we were expecting to see in week 1. Hopefully, their offensive line continues to hold up. That's been the main weakness, was their offensive line wasn't getting push, wasn't buying Dylan Gabriel time, thus they couldn't vertically push the ball down the field. They were much improved in the rivalry game. I don't see how they didn't move up. So to me, I would have Miami at 7, Oregon 8, and I'd put Missouri at 9. Coming in at number 10, a team that had a bye week, Penn State Nittany Lions. They are 2-0. They dropped them 2 spots. They didn't even play. The last game they played was versus Bowling Green, where they won 34-27. That was a shootout. That was not their best performance. So obviously, Drew Waller and their offense looks completely different since they brought in the new coordinating staff. They have a very deep running back room. They're going to have a top 10 defense under Allen. James Franklin has a very well-coached team, one of the better offenses as of right now in the Big Ten. Defense didn't play well last game, but very talented team. They can basically sleepwalk to a 10-2 season and potentially get in the playoffs. They have Kent State coming up, the same team that Tennessee just curb stomped. Coming in at number 11, we have USC. They also had a bye week. They have a big game coming up this weekend, probably the game of the weekend at 3:30 on CBS. Number 11 USC versus number 18 Michigan in the Big House in Michigan. Both teams need to win that. USC's coming into the Big Ten. You want to cement yourself, put everyone on notice in the Big Ten that the Trojans are there. You have Miller Moss. You have a great running back room, a very deep, skilled wide receiver core. You have Lincoln Riley, the best play caller in all of college football. And you have D'Anton Lynn, who has completely revamped this defense as of right now. Their last game, they beat Utah State 38-21. They deserve to be 12. And they beat Utah State 48-0. Shut them out. USC actually shut someone out. You see how much better their defense is. They're going to continue to roll up, especially if they beat Michigan. They're going to be flying up a couple spots. Coming in at 12, we have Utah. They didn't move up or down. They're 3-0. They beat Utah State 38-21. Cam Rising is out this past week. That's what made them fall 1 spot. They picked up right where they left off with him. Without him playing, this offense was anemic. All they could do was run the ball. Kyle Whittingham, a great coach, a very underappreciated head coach. We know they're going to have a top 10, top 20 defense, but the offense resolved so much around Cam Rising that when he didn't play, they were stuck in the mud. They played a lot better this week. Massive props to them. The reason that is because they went into the game plan during the week knowing Cam Rising wasn't playing. So they were able to adapt their system to their backup quarterback, and it worked wonders for him. He had a bad first quarter, and then after that, they were high flying from there, and it looked like a Cam Rising led offense. They are going to continue to climb, but I'm fine with them not moving them up as of now till Cam Rising comes back because he's the starting quarterback. Coming at 13, moving up 1 spot, 3-0 Kansas State, coming off of a win ranked on ranked game this past weekend when they beat Arizona 31-17. They moved up 1 spot. A very good win. Kansas State performed really well. Avery in that game, he was running all over the place. They were going up and down the field. This is a team that had a top 25 offense last season, top 25 defense. A very talented team, very physical team. Looks like they're starting to get hot right now, and they're starting to get into form. Best team in the Big 12 as of right now. Next one, potentially tied with them, is right behind them. Coming in at 14, actually falling one spot, Oklahoma State. I don't see that they did anything to fall a spot. I don't understand that. But they are 3-0. They fell one spot. They beat Tulsa 45-10. Very complete game. Ollie Gordon hasn't really had to do much. They haven't needed him to. He is the reigning Doak Award winner from last year. 1,700 yards, 21 touchdowns. We know they can run the ball. They have a top 10 offensive line experience-wise. Their defense played really well. Tulsa actually had a pretty good offense that was averaging over 40 points a game. They shut them down. Other running backs have stepped in. They have a deeper wide receiver core because they brought in a lot of transfer portal players. This conference is looking really good right now. So you got 3 straight Big 12 teams here. Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, 3 best teams in the conference, all vying for that playoff spot or one of those 12 spots. Coming in at 15, we have Oklahoma. They have the massive Tennessee game coming up this weekend. Oklahoma sits at 3-0. They beat Tulane 34-19. That game was really close up to the very end. Jackson Arnold really hasn't recaptured the offense they had in week 1. They've kind of sputtered since then. Defense has continued to play well. Physical under Brent Venables. He's been recruiting, working the portal. They have the number 10 overall roster according to ESPN. Where's the running game? Where's the offensive line? Jackson Arnold needs to play a little better. Maybe they're just holding things back because they know they have the Tennessee game coming up. I'm perfectly fine with them not having moved or fallen. They did win by 2 possessions. Not the best game, but they do continue to win, and we know how talented they are capable of being. Coming in at 16, we have LSU 2-1. They beat South Carolina 36-33. They should have moved back a spot. I don't think that they should have sat there where they were. They should have lost to South Carolina. You won. Never apologize for a win. The refs, the decisions in that game by the referees were very questionable. Cost South Carolina the game. I have a lot of issues with that. LSU did everything they could to lose the game, and South Carolina gave it to them on a platter. They took it. LSU, very talented team. Brian Kelly, great coach. Blake Baker, the defense has taken a step back since their week 1 performance versus the Trojans. They've been gradually getting worse because the next game, Nichols, they give up way too many points. And then they follow that up with a shootout with South Carolina where they conceivably could have lost it. And we're not penalizing them. No, they need to be penalized. They need to fall. I'd have dropped them all the way down to 21 or 22. Coming in at 17, we have Notre Dame 2-1. They moved up 1 spot. They beat Purdue 66-7. I'd put them in front of LSU. They do have that loss to NIU, which was a really bad loss to a MAC team. However, they have a really strong win versus the Texas A&M Aggies. They have a top 10 defense. You have Marcus Freeman. You have Denbrock as the offensive coordinator. You have Al Golden as the defensive coordinator. You have a very talented defensive team. Riley Leonard, I've never been impressed with the guy. Was not impressed with him at Duke. I said, just so you Irish fans know, the guy cannot throw the ball, and he cannot throw the ball. Yes, they beat the crap out of Purdue. Great win, but Riley Leonard still needs to continue to get better vertically passing the ball because some of these teams that you play, USC and teams like that, they're going to force you to have to throw the ball. They need to work on that now while their schedule's weaker. The next game but I'm perfectly fine with where their ranking is. I would just put them in front of LSU. Coming in at 18, we have the Michigan Wolverines falling 1 spot. They beat Arkansas State 28-18. What a bad showing. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. The Warren quarterback fiasco needs to end. Rip the Band-Aid off. The guy's just not good. He's not a good passer. You have Orji, who also came in and did not play well, but he's the future going forward. You need to adapt your offense towards his skill set, mobile, passing game, rolling the pocket, and things like that. Warren's just not good enough. Sharon Moore, are you being hard-headed here? I don't understand the situation. The offense has been abysmal. Yes, they only brought back 1 starter from their national championship team. They are going to have a top 10, top 15 defense. Very physical team, but it's not working right now. You should have scored a whole lot more points versus Arkansas State, especially coming off of a loss to Texas. And then now you have another big game coming up this weekend with USC. You need to be capable of scoring points and moving the ball. Coming in at 19, we have Louisville. They are 2-0. They didn't move up or down. Their last game, they beat Jacksonville State 49-14. Solid team. Jeff Brom can recruit. He can coach. He works the portal well. Lost a lot of his starters from last season. Brought in a lot of new starters. Very well-balanced team. They can throw, run. They play solid defense. And with the ACC being so wide open outside of Miami, they could potentially be that next second-tier team competing with Miami to make it to the ACC championship, where if you win the ACC, you automatically get into the playoffs. But this is setting up to be a really fun game once they do play Miami during the season. Coming in at 20, we have Iowa State 2-0. They moved up one spot. The last game they played, they beat Iowa 20-19. They had the bye week. They moved them up. They didn't play. I'm fine with them moving up. They had a great win versus their in-state rival, Iowa. Coming in at 21, we have Clemson. Also had the bye week. They are 1-1. They moved up one spot. Their last win, their only win, solid win versus Appalachian State, 66-20. Continue to work on that offense. We know Clemson's going to have a top 10 defense. They do every single season. They have the number 6 overall roster. Cade Klubnik, Maffa, Riley. You need to get this team a little more comfortable in your scheme. We need more out of Cade Klubnik. He has to step up. He was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. Has never lived up to anywhere near those expectations. He has to play a lot better. Dabo, you need to get with the modern times. You need to pick a couple people out of the transfer portal. Coming in at 22, we have Nebraska at 3-0. They moved up one spot. They had a 34-3 win versus Northern Iowa. Defense, solid defense, top 20, top 15 defense. When they beat Colorado, they beat Colorado. The score to that game did not give full justice to how physical Nebraska is. Dylan Raiola, true freshman. You're going to have that guy for 3 years. The future's bright in Nebraska right now under Matt Rule. He's building a very talented team, and he's building it the right way from the foundation up, recruiting, and they're deep at the lines of scrimmage, offensive line, defensive line. They line up. You have to beat them at the point of attack. They're 22 right now. I'm fine with them moving up one spot. They are going to continue to rise up, and they have an easy first half of their schedule. They can easily get to 7-0 before things start to get tough on their Big Ten schedule. Coming at 23, we have NIU 2-0. Obviously, their last win was versus Notre Dame at Notre Dame. They moved up 2 spots. They had the bye week, so they didn't play. Till they lose, I'm perfectly fine with them being ranked. Coming in at 24, a new team. We have the Illinois Fighting Illini, 3-0, a Big Ten representing team. They beat Central Michigan 30-9, and they had that really fun, close win versus Kansas. They did deserve to be ranked. A well-coached team under Brent Bielema. They play defense. They play hard physical offense as well. Coming in at 25, a new team, but a team that was that was previously ranked, and this is also another reason why Notre Dame, to me, should be ranked in front of LSU, because Notre Dame beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M. Massive win, great win on the schedule as of right now. The Aggies are coming off of beating Florida bad in Gainesville, Florida, putting it on them. Props to Mike Elko. This is a top 10 overall roster. They haven't played like it in the last several years under Jimbo Fisher. But Mike Elko will be looking to maximize the talent, utilize the talent on this roster, get the most out of them. Perfectly fine with them being ranked. And that also pads Notre Dame's strength of schedule as of right now, which is why they should be in front of LSU. Those ones who just missed out, we have Memphis, great win versus Florida State. A lot of people have them representing the group of 5 making the playoffs. And then you have Boise State, who could also potentially be that rival to represent the group of 5 in the playoffs. They barely lost to Oregon. They had Janty as the running back. It's like 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns so far this year. Some people have him as the best, highest-rated running back in all of college football. Look out for Memphis. Look out for Boise State. Then you have Syracuse, UNLV, Boston College, Washington State, who's 3-0, representing the Pac-12, which is now building itself back up. Really fun week for AP Poll Top 25 because we have a new number one that completely kind of shakes things up, adds a little build-up to that rivalry game once Texas plays Georgia during the regular season in a few weeks. So that's our reaction to our week 4 AP Poll. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.